with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You, of course, know there's a Fantastic Four movie coming.
Yep.
And supposedly, our first look at the practical suited Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, has been leaked online. Now, the folks over at Slash'em shared this social media post that came from something called Cosmic Media, which, just to be blunt, I've never heard of, but that's fine. Of this picture of what looks like a very accurate Fantastic Four suit compared to the other suits we've seen so far. And what looks like a practical Thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that got a lot of people going, this is the Thing. They're doing Thing in practical and all this kind of stuff. Here's the thing, though. I do not believe what we are seeing in this picture is what's going to be in the movie. I don't think what we're seeing in this picture is what we're going to be seeing in the movie. Do you remember if you guys saw any of the behind the scenes features of like the Phantom Menace, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace? Ahmed Best often walked around, the guy who did the motion capture and the voice for Jar Jar Binks.
Yep.
Ahmed Best walked around with a giant rubber Jar Jar head on. But you never actually see that in the movie because the plan was that was there for reference because it was all going to be CGI. And I want to remind you guys about the guy who's playing Ben Grimm. Eben Moss-Backrack said just a few months ago, he left no uncertainty about it. He said this: the Thing is not going to be practical. It is going to be all motion capture. We go down to his quote. He says, in the past, I think they've done a suit. Michael Chiklis wore a suit. I like Michael Chiklis' suit, by the way. Michael Chiklis wore a suit, and that apparently was really uncomfortable. And it's kind of, we're past that, Moss-Backrack said. It's a little kind of cosplay, kind of amateur, that kind of stuff now with the technology that we have. He went on to say, my performance is going to be all motion capture. So, what then are we left to believe about this imagery we see coming out from the Fantastic Four set? I think we're seeing the same thing about what we had with the Jar Jar Binks. Now, I don't know this for a fact. I'm just going off of what the actor said, what Eben Moss said. He said it's going to be all CG. What I think we're seeing here is just a placement for reference.
Yeah.
I don't think that face, that mask that's being worn is what we're actually going to see on screen.
I think it's just a big mannequin.
It might also just be a big mannequin to stand there in place.
Yeah.
I mean, there might actually be an actor in that
Could
suit.
be.
And that's a big looking body.
Yeah.
And that's a big looking, but go back to my screen there for a second. Look at the size of them. That's great. But again, remember, we've been told, not by some Gus's gas station movie reviews.fart site, we've been told by the actor himself in no uncertain terms, I'm not wearing a costume. It's going to be all motion capture. That's what we're getting in this. So my guess, and again, it's just a guess, could be wrong, but my guess is what we're looking at is a reference. It's a physical thing to be in place as a reference for when they do the CGI and stuff. I don't know. I mean, Jonathan, I think the mask looks great. It does look really good. Do you think this is ultimately what he's going to look like?
I think it's pretty much because they, if you look at this picture here, we've got Johnny Storm looking like original comic book accurate, kind of style.
It's definitely the right costume too.
Yeah. And I think when we go back to like this shot here, yeah, that I think it's gonna look like the classic Thing. Not like what was it, Josh Trank's version. It's gonna look like the classic Thing. And frankly, like I get the Michael Chiklis stuff and the love for it, but it looked like what it was going to look like for that film. This looks like Marvel is overseeing this and it's part of the MCU and it's very accurate to what fans expect to see. I do not think this is in the movie in terms of like he's walking around in that. I think that's purely a stand-in. I think that's all it is. So
Yeah, and by the way, I have a deep appreciation for Michael Chiklis's costume. Although Eben Moss's comments where it looks a little cosplay today aren't wrong.
Yeah.
And when you watch those movies with him in it, you could tell the movement was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But listen, I also very much appreciated the design of thing that they had in the Josh Trank. Well, didn't really end up being Josh Trank's movie, but in that Miles Teller version of it,
Yeah.
I kind of liked it. It was a little bit more original. They made it their own kind of thing.
A little more like a slate, kind of like slate stone and whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking the look. I'm just saying that if this is going to be Marvel in the MCU, and you show people that, it's like, that's it. That's spot on.
Yeah. And so if you can get the best of both worlds, a more classic Fantastic Four thing look with all the freedom and the mobility and the movement and the action that motion capture and CGI will afford, we could be in for something really cool. So, guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside, and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Do you believe that this image coming out of the set of Fantastic Four is like proof that it's going to be practical? We're going to have a practical thing. Or do you believe, like I do, and maybe I'm wrong, that, well, listen, Eben Moss said they're not using a practical costume, that it's going to be all motion capture, and this is probably more like a traditional reference point. I don't know. Whatever you guys think about it, I'm looking forward to it either way. Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.